I've been asked a couple times, what's the best way to get started with IoT, especially if you're not an IoT developer? Well, there are many ways, right? And so I would not recommend only one way, but I would recommend a way that eventually someone went through before. Asim wrote a book about tinkering with the Arduino IDE and the ESP32, a very popular hardware and developer tool that will definitely get you going and interested in IoT. Definitely recommend checking out the book, listening to what Asim has to say during this IoT show episode. And if you like this show, don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell to get notified when we publish new episodes. See you soon. Hey everyone, this is the IoT Show. I'm Olivier, your host. Today we will talk with Asim about his book, which is about coding with the ESP32 chip and the Arduino IDE. Asim, how are you, man?
I'm good, thank you, and thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for your time. Thanks for coming over. You're here to share your experience, your background, your recent in career, right? You recently came out of school and you jumped into IoT,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that I like seeing a lot. But I want for you to share your overall experience. Besides, incentivize people to
Mm-hmm.
get your book, go read it. There's a digital version, there
Mm-hmm.
is a paper version. It's published by Pact. And definitely would recommend people. It's not a huge book, but it's very on point on what that experience is. Before we get into that, who's Asim? Where are you? Where are you calling from? Actually, I'm curious about that as well.
Um, uh, Basically, I'm from Pakistan, but currently I'm based in south of Germany.
Okay,
And yes,
awesome. So you
mhm.
get the mountains there, right?
Yeah, it's like Alps is very near from here, so yeah, we get good
It's
vacations or time.
it's it's a nice region. I like it. Like
Yeah.
weather is nice, the mountains. It's very similar to what we have here in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that. So I was saying your recent career and you
Mm.
jumped into IoT, and
Yeah.
I would like for you to give me the rundown of how you came to end up writing a book about IoT, and you're just fresh out of school. But what is your background? What have you done until today?
Okay, so yes, I'm very new to the IoT industry. Not, I would not say in the IoT industry, but as a IoT developer in the industry. But I have been making IoT content for like 5 6 years on my YouTube channel and on my blog High Voltages. And apart from that, like while I was in my university doing my undergrad, I was selling my freelance services, and that included web development. And also, while I was learning all these Arduino development boards, ESP32, and while I was doing electronic engineering, I was like playing with all these boards. And I was also providing freelance services for these boards. And there were many clients who were looking for some like basic automation projects and things like that. So while I was learning, I was making tutorials, and I was putting my content on the internet. So uh, that's how like Pack found me, and they asked me if I am interested in writing a book with ESP32, since I was making content on MQTT protocol um, and other IoT protocols. So they asked me, and I thought it is a good opportunity to do something that I wanted to do. So yeah, I accepted,
Nice.
and here.
So Sim, that's a lot. Many different domains. Like you mentioned, doing web development for customers for a living. You mentioned, doing electronics and your own personal projects. It's very things going in every direction. That's a bit what IoT is about, but it's a lot to take in, right? You mentioned 5 6 years of experience already on all of that, which is certainly just like even just grasping and scratching the surface of the entire thing. But still, it's a lot and sometimes daunting for people because they want to specialize in something or they don't think they can grasp the entirety of what IoT represents. But what is your take on that one? Is it IoT too hard, too many things to learn to get into?
Um, Yes, I mean, there are many things that combine together to make IoT. And this is the beautiful thing about IoT. I mean, diversity. So you will have a bit of embedded system, sensing, cloud, network. And when all these things combine together, you get the IoT solution. So this is I mean, I like to try out different things, and I like to try learn new technologies. So I mean, if it is for anyone who would like to uh, get into the generalization, I mean, IoT is the best tech field. I mean, at the end, uh, you have the option to specialize in particular field. For example, you can be IoT network engineer, you can get specialized in networking and
Mhm.
get into the IoT network engineering, or there is an option to for cloud, or you can be a security engineer. I mean, security is one of the main aspect of IoT as well. So I mean, you have the option if you want to get specialized into the particular field. Or for me, currently I'm still exploring since I'm recent. So I'm like trying to grab bit of everything. So in the end, maybe I will see where it goes.
Yeah, yeah. I can tell you by experience. I've like 25 years of experience in that domain,
Hmm.
and I'm still learning on a daily basis. I'm actually playing around with some, CO2 sensors right now,
Hmm.
looking at things such as portability of code for embedded devices and
Hmm.
learning new communication technologies like IoT and things like that. It's it's something that requires curiosity,
Hmm.
requires taking the time to ingest and learn, and I think it's like no other domain. IoT
Hmm.
is pretty cool for that. So you ended up writing a book,
Hmm.
and you already kind of introduced how you came to be contacted by Pact to write this book. But I'm curious for you to tell us what's to be expected. Like if someone wants to know what's in the book before they get to it, what's your pitch about it?
Okay, so it is about three things. It is about ESP32, Arduino IDE, and IoT. So I have used ESP32 as a tool and Arduino IDE as a tool to I mean, explain the IoT, but it can be replaced by any other tool, such as we can use any other board as well, like Raspberry Pi Pico or Arduino Nano IoT. But I have used the IoT architecture as a direction. For example, the in the book it starts with the sensing part. So you will learn how to connect sensors, and not just the interfacing, but you will learn the basics of sensing communication, which is like the communication protocols, UART, SPI, I2C. And then there is a discussion about the networking layer. That is, you will learn about the networking protocols. For example, you will learn how to use Wi-Fi and BLE, and there are some small projects such as P2P communication using Wi-Fi, or there are some like other big projects as well. And also, I have discussed the how we can use some external modules such as for cellular communication, and for LoRaWAN, etc. And apart from that, there is discussion on the database protocols, and how to choose the database protocol. For example, MQTT, HTTP, and webhooks are discussed in very details, and there is like hands-on projects that you can do to learn these protocols. And in the end, I mean, I have tried to end this book with the three practical projects, which includes the other part of IoT. For example, in one of the project, there is we are connecting a plant with the different social medias. For example, it is tweeting, it is sending WhatsApp messages, it is sending Telegram messages using third-party API services, and then there is also a project which involves the payment and displaying of QR codes, etc., etc. So you can like um, uh, automate the payment part as well. And then there is a logging project, since I believe that the data loggers are the best example of IoT. I mean, it covers every aspect of IoT. So and we are visualizing the data in Grafana using InfluxDB database. So and in the end, the readers, which I guess would are the very beginners, will find a roadmap to I mean, there is an option to learn where to go next. I mean, there is a discussion about Arduino IDE versus Platform IO, and things like that. I mean, they can choose for themselves like what are the next directions. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah.
I like that. I like that. That's the approach of explaining the basics and then going into practical examples. And
Mm-hmm.
you just mentioned like it's really a book meant for beginners in
Mm-hmm.
IoT. And when we say beginners in IoT, we don't say beginner in the world of IT and coding. It's
Mm-hmm.
beginners in the world of devices and connecting them and securing them and controlling them and so on, which is exactly what we're talking about here. So when it comes to the choice of the hardware, ESP32 seems to be pretty logical. It's like very
Mm-hmm.
popular. I think it has a big advantage, but I want to have your opinion on that one. Is the fact that it's not just something that is available on lots of the hobbyists and makers projects and boards that are out there, but
Mm-hmm.
it's something that is used in actual whether consumer or enterprise devices in production. So it's something that is the real deal, and it's not too expensive, and it's
Yes.
loaded with functionality. Can you like give me the your 2 cents on the ESP32 and why you picked that one?
Yeah, like you mentioned, ESP32 is very cheap, and also the like you get the Wi-Fi and BLE all in one device, for example. And apart from that the options of the GPIOs and number of different versions for different other features. And apart from that, compatibility with Arduino IDE and community support is a big plus for using ESP32.
Yeah, and I like that you mentioned community support because
Yeah.
that's something that's big, especially, in IoT, but like more particularly in the maker space, in the
Mhm.
enthusiast space, where you're going to start using all these libraries from the Arduino IDE, and then you're going to combine with others, and
Mhm.
sometimes people don't know how to code with C, C++, and
Yes.
so that's something that will be super helpful. Having a community that will help you. So let's talk about Arduino IDE. So we
Mhm.
talked about the hardware ESP32. Certainly, you have also different boards that are out there sporting the ESP32 that you can leverage. But from the dev tool perspective, you picked Arduino IDE. I'm curious to know why this one versus another one. Whether there's other things that you looked into. Why would you recommend Arduino IDE for a beginner?
Like I mentioned, the ESP32 and Arduino IDE are just the tools. The main purpose was to like the explain the IoT. So, like Arduino IDE makes things very simpler and is very user friendly for the beginners. So, I mean, it helps you. It is really easy to set up, compile, and build projects in Arduino IDE, and also it is very easy to manage libraries or install new boards or manage different boards. And so all these things, I mean, makes things easier for the beginners. And so like the beginner can focus more on the IoT part, I mean, and can use Arduino IDE as a tool to learn. So this is why we choose the Arduino IDE. But there was the another option, Platform IO, which we considered, and it offers more features. But And also the good thing about Platform IO is that it provides support for Arduino Core and ESP-IDF as well. I mean, ESP-IDF is the recommended for ESP32, but for getting started, I mean, Arduino Core is works well. And the another good thing that I liked about the Platform IO is like installing the libraries. I like it it is really easy to install libraries. For example, you just have to give the GitHub link in the platform.io.ini file, and it will fetch the library itself. So these things
Right.
makes platform IO as a competitive option as well. But since we were targeting the beginners, so Arduino IDE was the most popular choice. So.
Yeah, nice. I like it. So, did you actually face any problems, any limitation? I would say not problems. Arduino IDE is pretty smooth, and they have many iteration of the tool. They have a recently refreshed UI and so on. But I'm curious to know what were the limitations because you use Arduino IDE for your maker project, enthusiast project, and I know that now Arduino has a pro line of hardware, and they recommend still using Arduino IDE as the dev tool for that. So I'm curious to know if you found any, or you stumble across any limitations that you would say, hey, you know what, that might be the ones that will require you to change the tool chain for your
Mhm.
development if you want to go enterprise production whatnots.
Mhm. So, okay, for this book, I mean, the topics were like very beginner friendly. So, while for this book, there was no issues like while using Arduino IDE. But for example, there is one downside I would say for using the Arduino IDE, and it is the abstraction of like it abstracts a lot. I mean, it abstracts too much of complexity. So,
Mhm.
I mean, for example, in the real embedded projects, it is not that much easy to, like, for example, even define pins or configure pins. But Arduino IDE makes it very easy and gives the user a false impression that embedded development is very easy. Apart from apart from that, I mean, and this is what happened with me as well. While like I started with Arduino IDE as well, and after that, I started development. I mean, I started learning PIC controllers, and then I realized like this is very different. I mean, in Arduino IDE, things are really simple, but when you are doing it for other controllers in another environments, things are very different. You have to read data sheets and everything, like
Yeah.
from other perspective.
So
And
stay on the paved way, basically, right? Stay on the trail, and you'll be
yes.
good if you're a beginner. Thanks to Arduino IDE, I like that.
Mhm. And also in Arduino IDE, for example, ESP-IDF is the recommended option for the ESP32, but in Arduino Core, the RTOS option is has very limited support, and also the over-the-air support has the limited support as well. And apart from that, for example, if you are planning to use the multi-core options in ESP32, I mean, ESP-IDF is the better option. You can still do it in Arduino IDE, but things get complex. So yeah.
Nice, I like that. So I think that definitely tells a good picture of what to expect. It's like pretty straightforward, abstracts the complexity.
Mhm.
Don't be deceived because things are not that easy at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
But if you stay on that paved way, on that trail, you're good to go.
Mhm.
That's a general trend, actually, abstracting the hardware complexity in the embedded space that I'm seeing, across the board.
Mhm.
Wilderness Labs, they have Meadow, which is really interesting because it allows .NET developers to code for embedded devices.
Mhm.
And they have a very nice, what they call Meadow Foundation, that will abstract the complexity of the hardware. The I2C, the SPI, all the
Mhm.
things that are happening, under the hood, and allow you to code on top of it, send a message, or receive a piece of information from hardware.
Mhm.
Is the level that you need to understand. But I do believe that it's important to go dig deeper and understand what's happening underneath, in
Mhm.
general. But IoT is definitely a good way to be introduced.
Mhm.
Thanks to something like Arduino IDE or other tools out there, Platform Yo you mentioned, and learn about these aspects
Mhm.
of the development that they might not be familiar with. So that's a great thing. So, as in, IoT is about hardware. It's about device electronics and sensors, and that's what's fun, actually. From
Mhm.
my perspective, you create something that will sense your environment, give you
Mhm.
information, and so on. But hardware can not only just be tricky, you can also, it can take time for you to get the hardware from the stores when you buy online, and or you could be messing up your hardware with soldering, and so you might want to do tests,
Mhm.
evaluations, proof of concept without the hardware. But it's not trivial. All the hardware, like each hardware, each board is different, and then each combination of electronics is different on there. You mentioned Wokwi as a good tool to try things out and to play around with, especially
Mhm.
as a beginner.
Mhm.
Tell me more about this.
Okay, so Walkvi is like a very powerful tool that helps you simulate different projects using different development boards. They have the support for ESP32, Arduino, Raspberry Pi Pico, and there are many different boards as well. There is STM32 as well. And also, not only that, I mean, you can simulate your projects in different environments. I mean, they have the support for Arduino IDE, ESP IDF, or you can also use MicroPython or CircuitPython as well. So that makes it one of the a very powerful tool for simulating your IoT projects. And like there also it allows you to connect to the network and do the um, uh, it allows you to send the data to the cloud. And I mean, there was a similar kind of tool available, that was Tinkercad, but that didn't have that feature. It was you were just allowed to connect to the sensors, and you could only able to see the results on the serial monitor. But Workfee provides these features. And also, since I have moved a lot in last few years, and it's very hard to carry your kids everywhere. So in these kind of scenarios, Workfee is the best tool. And also, when, for example, if you are having any cool idea in your mind, and you are out somewhere, maybe on vacation, you would like to try it as soon as possible. So I mean, Workfee can help. And
I like
and
that. Yeah.
yeah,
It's like you're not traveling heavy with the family and hold the boards and the hardware
yeah,
with you. You're just like, what are you doing, honey? I'm just checking email. Don't worry. Actually, you're
yeah,
coding for devices. That's pretty
mhm,
cool. I like
yeah.
that. So, Asim, tell me, what do you consider yourself? You say you mentioned 5, 6 years of experience already working on different
Mhm.
projects for customers or for yourself. Would you consider yourself an expert in IoT already?
I would not consider myself expert. I mean, since IoT is I mean, requires a lot of different skills. I'm still learning, and I'm always exploring different new things, and I'm always exploring something new about different about some IoT protocols. Even each protocol of IoT is, I mean, evolving, or we are having like. Um, Many new releases every time. So I'm in the phase of learning. And um, the
Yep.
best thing that I have learned about, like, the master the IoT, is to, like, I would say, is to, you will have to learn, unlearn, and then relearn, because things are changing, and you have to change with them as well. So I'm still a student of
I
IoT.
I agree with you. I think the danger is to stop learning and consider that, hey, I'm arrived.
Yes.
It's not just to be fair. It's not just for IoT. It's
Mm.
true for like pretty
Everything.
much all the technology around that is evolving so fast
Mm.
that you need to catch up. You need to continue learning. And as a matter of fact, learning goes through reading books. So
Mhm.
once again, yours is definitely a good one, and being curious. I like that. So what's next? Maybe some AI on IoT. Have you considered that?
Yes, I mean, IoT and AI makes a beautiful combination. While IoT produces data, AI gives intelligence to that data, and data with intelligence is really helpful. So AI
Yep.
is one of the next thing, and I have already tried combining these two things, but I would not say that I'm very good at AI. But It was like back in my university days, we, as a group of 4 people, we did a final year project, and that was the human assistant robot, which was, I would say, not successful, but we learned a lot, because the expectations were very high, but the resources
Yep.
and time was very limited. So anyhow, we were able to give robot a voice using Alexa API services, and we used some OpenCV to do some minor computer vision, and we were using IoT for remote sensing and monitoring. And apart from that, at my current job, we are also using some machine learning algorithms for finding anomalies in data, or finding patterns in data. So AI
Yep.
gives the data intelligence, and that is beautiful.
I I'm with you. That's the next logical step. Actually, if you have not taken a look yet, I recommend you check out Edge Impulse.
Hmm.
It actually, I wouldn't say it dumbify, but it makes AI understandable
Hmm.
for everything, actually, not just for putting AI on IoT devices. I think in general, the way they're approaching the training of the models, and the way you will compose the different algorithms to create your own models
Hmm.
is fantastic. It's something that I'm not a data scientist, I'm not an AI guy, and I understood it. So it was
Hmm.
like, okay, now I'm curious. And so
Hmm.
Edge and Pulse definitely is a recommendation for next steps here.
Mhm.
Asim, thanks a lot for your time. So you will not present yourself as an IoT expert, but you went through all the trouble of writing a book based on
Mhm.
your learnings,
Mhm.
and you share them in that book. So I really recommend people to go check it out. If you want to learn IoT, that's a really good starting point. ESP32 as your hardware that connects, that has all the GPIOs and connectivity to the hardware side of things. Awesome. Arduino IDE, straightforward, huge community behind.
Mhm.
Get the book. That's all I can say today. Asim, thanks a lot for your time.
Mhm.
And well, I hope to see you around.
Thank you for having me, and thank you.
Okay. Bye,
Mm.
everyone.
Bye.